Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, YouTube, and there's so much more. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Go give it a shot. Facing my eyes, facing my eyes.
Good evening, and thank you for joining Vibe Talk Facing the Lion. Vibe Talk Facing the Lion is all about your being your better self. We are here with you tonight, and tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is our very last Friday of 2023. Welcome to our special edition. Here's a thought as we challenge ourselves. No matter how many times I fall, I will still rise. We're going to talk about that in detail. Challenging ourselves. We have been with Vibe Talk now for 3 years. And I always say December, but in actuality, we really started with the celebration November of 2021. So how is it looking now that we've arrived? I'll tell you this. We've challenged ourselves in so many ways. We have given impact to so many, even ourselves. Have you decided while listening to Vibe Talk podcast that you are enough? Has it been positive for you, as it has been for me and hosting Vibe Talk Facing the Lion? How about your being free? Because sometimes what we do is hold on to our pain instead of finding a way to work out our pain. How many of you are choosing to work through your pain? You know, it has been a lot of work when I think about where we were versus where we are now. And we're going to be talking about matters of the heart, matters of rising up, still rising up. What you can do to still rise. We face challenges, and you know our favorite question of the week. Our favorite question of the week is, what challenges have you faced presently, in the past, and your future? Because you see, it all matters. No, nobody knows what it's going to look like tomorrow. But I want to tell you something. If tomorrow were your last day, what would you do? How would you be challenged to still rise? Our Vibe Talk number is 661 503-8993. We decided to bring you Vibe Talk here at night. Why did we decide to bring you Vibe Talk at night? Because it is our last Vibe Talk of 2023. No, we won't go back. 2023, this day will pass. 2023, this day will pass December the 22nd. What have you done for 365 days? As you've watched and listened to Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast, what has been your itinerary? Not resolution. We've spoken about this before, but what is in your itinerary? And if it's about you, what would you like to do as 2024 is approaching? Today, as I rose up, I thought to myself, how could I make this more impactful? For the last Vibe Talk of 2023. No, we're not going anywhere, because we don't stop until it's done. There are still so many people to reach and so many places to go and so many topics. A lot can be done in a year's time. Now, for those of you who get to see the background of what's been written, I found this inspiration and I thought, wow, that really speaks to me. Have you ever been gut punched as you have lived your life? Or woken up, gut punched? If you've ever been punched in the gut, wow, it just knocks the wind right out of you. Have you been gut punched? You know, because we don't expect millions of followers. That's not our expectation. What we do expect is to touch a life. And what that means, in layman's terms, is to touch a heart. On Saturday, the weekend, we have a new addition to our family, which is Vibe Talk After Dark. You know, you start a project and you wonder, how can you keep inspiring? And we've been doing that. If you want to hear our radio show, you can hear it live on Facebook. You can hear it live and uncut on our podcast, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you're listening to your favorite podcast. Have you heard about Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast? Why is it even a lion? Some may ask. Because you see, lions are very powerful. And at the same time, lions are very watchful. They are challenged when they're seeking something. They will risk it as they seek In their case, it would be pray. But in your case, it would be seeking to be a better you for a better tomorrow. We've heard your stories. We've commented. We are still going. 2024 is our model. We will still rise. Wherever you are, wherever you're listening, we want still to hear your story. Because you see, my story is my survival guide. And your story is your survival guide. There is still more work to be done. Come closer. I said, there is still more work to be done. When we look at ourselves, are you satisfied with what you've done for the year 2023? It's went by oh so fast. There are new challenges while working on the old challenges. Have you challenged yourself? Have you put impact into someone else's life? Impact. We're going to talk about that. Have we tried to be more positive in our Monday motivations? Have we grown? Or are we still stagnant? Let's think about that for a moment. Challenging ourselves to rise. We want you to call in. We want you to tell us what you think. What are you goal setting? Because you see, goal setting is different from resolution. Because, you know, everybody makes a resolution. I was talking about this the other day. Just a moment. We are live, and I apologize for the noise. We are live in my live place. When we think about Vibe Talk, how have you risen? You know, some of us are still not awake to the fact that we have to challenge ourselves every day. We're going to be right back. Stay tuned to Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. Stay tuned. We are back, and we're talking about challenging ourselves. What challenges have you faced in the past or present? And that's always been our Friday question for the year 2023. Where are you listening in from, please? And hello to you as well. As you guys come in, please tell us where you're listening in from. We want to thank every state and country that is tuned in. Every state and every country that has tuned in. Now, how do we challenge ourselves? How do we challenge ourselves? How are you going to challenge yourself? Because it's not just enough to say a resolution. We all get into the space of saying what we are resolved to do. And let's think about this. Resolution. A firm decision to do or not to do something. Determination, willpower, firmness. Now, when we think about solutions, Vibe Talk has helped you to come to your own solution. We are not a podcast that will tell you what your solution is. Solving problems or dealing with difficult situations. Have you challenged yourself to solve your difficult situations? Do you have that lion power to be able to get through? And do you find that after you got through, you were strengthened by it? You dealt with the situation as it came. And how do you find the solution? We talk about transformation, and we ask ourselves every podcast, change your life. Did you hear the action in that? Changing the way you are doing something currently so that your objective goal is to achieve something. Good evening, and thank you for joining Vibe Talk Facing the Lion. Our Vibe Talk question is, what have you been faced with this week? What challenges have you been faced with? We do have an open line on our Facebook page and also our direct connect, 661-503-8993. Where are you listening in from? And thank you for joining Vibe Talk Facing the Lion. So transformation is to change something, change your current situation into an objective of achieving a goal. If you have just joined us, that is what we're talking about. How do we challenge ourselves? How many of you have felt challenged with something, about something, for something? Because all of us are challenged. But how many times out of your challenges have you rose above this challenge and you said, yes, I did it? Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you have done that, I want you to celebrate yourself. Everybody's so used to celebrating this and that. When was the last time you celebrated yourself because you faced a challenge and your goal was to get through it? Our audience member, where are you listening in from, has a comment. Thank you so much. Keep the comments coming, ladies and gentlemen. My anxiety challenges me, but I don't feel like I've been overcoming it. Let's talk about that for a moment, because tonight's episode is a special episode, and the episode is to rise above it. I want to tell you first off that you can. And the first questions that we have to ask ourselves is, when would we like to rise above it? And the next question is, what is it that we need to overcome? Anxiety. We have a podcast on mental health. Let's address the anxiety. Where is the anxiety coming from? Let's talk about that. Because in order to face that challenge, we must know where the anxiety is coming from. Do you know where it's coming from? And we are live from Southern California. Where are you listening in from, please and thank you? Self-esteem issues. We've had that. We've had so many things such as that. Thank you for joining. Self-esteem issues. And how long have you been dealing with the self-esteem issues? And have you talked to anybody else about what you're dealing with right now? And when we say self-esteem issues, we're talking about how we feel about self. You're either at a low ebb or you're at a high ebb. Because sometimes we can think too much of ourselves. So let's tap on that for a second. And by no means are we doctors. I am a trained professional wellness coach. I teach you how to address yourself. So self-esteem issues. So what are some self-esteem issues that you have? And you know you guys can text always. You can always text 661 good evening. And I have my co-host who is saying good evening. And good evening to you. And we welcome her. So if you're trying to get in and I didn't see you, I apologize, but you're more than welcome to if you can, Trish. So you said before you were a teenager. Okay. Did you ever get a chance to talk with your parents about it? Did you ever talk to your friends about it? Or your parents, I'm sorry. Because that's key, too, to talk about how you're feeling. How many of you are afraid to talk about your feelings? Because talking about your feelings can be very difficult. You said, I've never told my parents, but I feel like it's always been obvious. So in other words, because they're your parents, do you feel like they should know how you feel? Do you feel like they should know how you feel? Because that's not always the case. Sometimes we have to help our parents. And even if we don't have parents that really sit down and talk to us, we can take some initiative, because sometimes we do see our parents. Most of us see their parents. And what I want to tell you, the reason why I'm asking questions, because your anxiety challenges you. And you don't feel like you've been overcoming it. Here's why. What might help you? That's what I meant to say. Here's what might help you. What might help you is, are you close to your parents? Let's start with that. And are you a teenager now? Because sometimes people don't like to talk out. And that's what we're finding. You're in your 20s. Good morning, or good evening, Robin, and thank you for joining Vibe Talk. We're asking that everybody that's on here, where are you listening in from? Robin, good morning. Good. I keep saying good morning. It's morning somewhere, guys. But not in Southern California. We're talking about rising above our challenges. What challenges have you been faced with lately? Robin, we're talking about that. Our text number is 661-503-8993. And you're in your late 20s. Our caller is from Virginia. Robin is. Thank you for telling us that. We're talking about rising above our challenges. So you're in your 20s and you're having a self-esteem problem. Let's address the self-esteem problem if you want to. You don't have to, but if you want to. So you're having a self-esteem challenge. What is it about yourself that challenges you? Thank you for that, Trish. What is it about yourself that challenges you? By the way, ladies and gentlemen, we are on Facebook right now, live. My co-host is there for our daytime radio talk show, our podcast. And we have on the weekends Vibe Talk After Dark, all about love songs, dedication, inspiration, whatever it is that you want to talk about. So we're asking the question, what about your self-esteem are you challenged with? Because you just let us know about your self-esteem issues. And you all can type your questions, your comments. And we're going to ask that we be generous to the person who is talking, not give them any advice. We want to be respectful. Okay, so you struggle with talking to people. And you say due to your self-esteem. So we're talking about self-esteem. What is it about your self-esteem that challenges you? We're going to take everything off the board and just focus on self-esteem. When you say self-esteem, are we speaking of something that you feel you're lacking in? I don't want to put words in your mouth. Self-esteem. Because everybody's self-esteem is different. Everybody's self-esteem is different. And so, struggling. How we rise above it. And I thank all of you for your calls. Be brave like a lion to be able to speak up. Because who knows? This may lead to someone else hearing your story and be encouraged to speak up. So your self-esteem, is it that you feel insecure, distressed? What is it about that self-esteem? And how many people are feeling that that's relatable to them? Anybody here tonight, here on Facebook or our other channels? Go ahead. My co-host is speaking. Your self-esteem. Go ahead.
I said I do. I can relate to that on a very high level. I'm still working on that myself, and from my self-esteem, I had low self-esteem for a very long time, starting from when I was in when I was in school, when I used to get bullied, and that built up a lot of low self-esteem for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Having confidence in your own worth, your abilities, what you believe in, your emotional state is very important. In fact, it creates better health for you. You know, your opinion of yourself, how you feel about yourself really does matter. Like right now, tonight, you matter. You matter. Oh, I like that. Thank you for that comment. It reads, the good thing is that recently I've had bad days of, I'm sorry, I've had days of confidence more than I've had before. It's just difficult to keep up all the time. Yeah, isn't that the truth? That it's so difficult to keep it up. Can I let you in on something? I can relate to that.
Me too.
Because every day is not a good day for me. Because there's some days that I might feel more safe than other days. And some days are worse than other days. But you got up today. You rose above how you may feel. On those days that you rise above, that is what matters, my friend. That, that is what we call here lion power. Sounding just like this. And I want to tell you something. Who says you have to keep it up every day? Because there's some days you just don't want to keep it up. There's some days you don't want to have to fight like a lion. And that's okay too. The fact that you get up and you continue to do what you have to do on a day-to-day basis, that is enough for that day. And we're so glad that you are here. Here's what we have let you gain access to when you're with Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. You have gained access to yourself. How many of you knew that there was such a thing that you can have the keys to yourself? You know, some people have the keys to the city, while other people have a golden key, while even there's a magic kingdom key for all you Disneyland lovers, including myself. Now, Vibe Talk has taught you year one, you have access to yourself. Not just to say that, you know, I'm dealing with self-esteem. I'm struggling with self-esteem. But you're able to look at yourself through my work with you to be able to place your finger on what your self-esteem looks like. It's very important to be able to say it. And if this is your first time saying it, we're going to applaud you, celebrate you at this moment because you did what? You named what your challenges were. Some of us have challenges and we don't even know what our challenges are. That was very brave of you. And once you start naming and becoming aware that you got this self-esteem, you're welcome. She says, thank you. You're very welcome. This is what Vibe Talk has been doing for 3 years on air. We're by no means any doctor or medical physicians. Self-esteem, we realize, is a real challenge, but you can rise above it by challenging yourself each day. Like you said, you struggle with talking to people, but you've also said that you've had some good days. See, it's all relatable because most people don't talk about things like that, and that's why Vibe Talk has made it awareness, because you don't have to go it alone. My co-host just told you how she felt. I just told you how I felt. The more you talk about it, the more that you're going to become positive about yourself. Because if no one's ever asked you the question, what about your self-esteem did you feel? See, I was able to get that out of you about your self-esteem. And the more you talk about it, the more you're able to gain access to yourself. Vibe Talk has done the work. Because you see, it matters how you feel about yourself. The more we're challenged, the more that we gain access to ourselves. Many people come in here, thank you for even being brave enough. Anxiety can challenge people. Thank you for that. Especially this time of year, anxiety. And thank you, Trish, for that heart. Every heart is human. Every heart is human. I want you to understand it. We're talking to real people. We're going to be right back. Facing the lions, facing the lions. Cause we're called Lights Off, facing the lion podcast. Come set your favorite streaming. Feel free to be interactive and tell us your stories. Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, YouTube, and it's so much more. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Go give it a shot. We're back, and we want to say thank you for joining my co-host and I for a nighttime edition of Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. Rising above it. How do we rise above our challenges? How do you rise above what you're being challenged with? Trish, what do you think? You risen above your challenges?
Rising for me, I would say how I rise above my challenges is I go through it without stopping until I get to the finishing point, until I accomplish what I'm going through and get to my solution. So, because I feel like every challenge that I go through, I rise above it every time I experience it. So, I learn something every time I experience a challenge, and that gives me a guide, some sort of guide or wisdom on how to do better the next time.
Yeah, experience. That's what we do. Let's remember always, remind ourselves to love ourselves just a little bit more. If you're doing that, always remember that love motivates. The way you feel about yourself, when you learn to love yourself, okay, you're going to pass that on. Once you learn to love yourself, you do the work, and then you're able to rise above that as well. Let's talk about what we've done. And I want you to think about the word rise. Ready? The word is R-I-S-E. We're going to be able to think about that word, what it means, what it embraces, and what it encompasses. Rising above ourselves. Recognize and embrace your change. You are worthy. Change and embrace. When you are challenged through your change, you afford new opportunities. How many of you feel the need to change? Let me tell you something. Even though I am host of the podcast, every time I do one, it gives me room for thought to do better, as Trish said. Trish said. So with embracing, we must acknowledge, recognize, and embrace change. You have to have continuous improvement. I inspire and motivate. How many people in the last 360 something days or 300 plus days have we taken the opportunity to inspire and motivate? And what inspires you? And what has motivated you for the year 2023? You know, rising up, we think about being resilient. We can get right back up, and you ask yourself, how does one do that? You see, when a person rises up, they're unwavering. They're not just resolute, they're committed. Their goal is to have a solution. They're passionate. Their object is to be glad as they demonstrate this. We've shared with you our vision for 2020. You've been through the work with us. Shared vision through our reels, our discussions. What has been their power to help you to overcome your challenges? Rise. Letter I is where we were. We tell you, tell us your story. You've heard it for the last 2 years. And that's what we want you to do, to inspire others. Letter S. Strengthen what you now know versus what you never knew before. Using your words to say, I feel, I think, I know, I do, filling in the blanks with what your emotion feels like, your experience. Strengthen that. That's called emotional intelligence. Self-awareness, self-regulation. Be strong like a lion. Next, we have the word E. When we tell you to embrace, think about all the things that you've had to embrace for the whole year. Even though it looked like, why do I want to embrace that? Because no one likes to feel failure. No one likes to feel lower than. But you see, your failure is your challenge turned around. We have accepted what looks like failure and learned of our challenges and opportunities. Embrace just that. We learn from it. We fall down. We rise again. There you have it. RIS. Resilience is the power to get up. Come a little closer. I said, resilience is the power to get up. Getting up and standing up requires skill. How many of you have ever gotten out of bed? And when you have just awakened, sleepy-eyed, try to focus. How easy is it for you to just get up and stand up? What would you say to that, Trish?
I would say it depends on how tired I am. If I'm very tired, then it'll take me a while to actually get up and do what I gotta do. Whether it's just evening, just regular get up. But if I'm really ready and not so tired, it's easy for me to get up.
Yeah. Some of us, it's not so easy. But we learn the skill of getting up, standing up. It's the same as showing up. How many mornings have we felt like not showing up? See, we train our minds to say we need to rise above this feeling. Remember what rise means. Now, when we think about all the days that we have journeyed through 2023, we think about, wow, what does my journey look like to me? Because we've all taken different journeys, have we not? As we have thought about our journey, we have been mindful of thinking about how we can enhance, how we can help our well-being to be well. It is continued learning for all of us. Knowing about yourself, gaining access, embracing, being resilient through all of it affords so many opportunities. Now, what we teach here is problem solving. Even when you're in school and you're a young child, you learn how to problem solve. How many times has your teacher, when you come up to the teacher, they listen to you? See, they don't fix all your problems. You're learning through school how to fix it, right? That's a starting of developing problem solving. We all need a little guidance. Don't feel shame for asking for the guidance. We speak about the GPS. I'm looking for the word GPS. Now, are we too proud to navigate our challenges as we journey through what we call life, despite our challenges? I would hope that we pick up that GPS and let it give us guidance to where we need to be on life's road. Our GPS is knowledge about ourselves, just so that you all know that. I want you to constantly rise above and embrace your power. Isn't it wonderful to have discovered that you have the answers? You say, but I don't. But once I start helping you by asking you questions, you, you start to unlock with your key to you, your feelings. It's the first time I asked somebody that. Your feelings, you feel kind of unsteady. You feel like you're going to have a nervous breakdown because maybe nobody's ever asked you any questions about your self-esteem or about how you feel. And that's why we start with the morning of saying what we're thankful for. Every time I ask that question, it lets me know how you're feeling. It lets me know if you're paying attention. You know, it's easy to give answers, but I want the real answers from you. Because you see, you can rise above situations, any situation. Our reels speak for themselves. Tricia, if you can put down the link to our reels. If you haven't saw them, take a look at them. This one today was very powerful to me. I don't know about you, Trish, but this one is. If you've had your favorite reel from us, please let us know. We'd be happy to know. We thank every city, every state that's been here with us. we want to say a heartfelt thank you. I want to end it with this because I love this poem uh, by Maya Angelou, Dr. Maya Angelou. And I think this closes it up for tonight. One moment. Good morning, or good evening. I'm sorry. We're talking about rising above challenges. Trish, what is the question that we asked on Friday? And thank you for joining us.
We ask, what challenges have you faced?
What challenges have you been faced with? This is a very special edition of Vibe Talk Facing the Lion. Here is the ending of tonight's special episode on Rising Above for 2023. Our last Friday for the month and the year. Still I rise by Maya. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders folding down like teardrops weakened by my soulful cry? Does your haughtiness offend you? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I am a black ocean leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fears, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wonderfully clear, I rise. Bring the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. Thank you so much for being with Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. And when we come back, we're going to turn it over to Trisha's Treasures. We'll be right back.
'Cause we're called vibetalk facing the lion podcast. Come set your favorite streaming platforms. Feel free to be interactive and tell us your stories. Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, YouTube, and Instagram. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Go give it a shot.
We're back. And this is Trisha's Treasures, the last Friday, 2023. Trish?
Wow. this live was very inspiring. I appreciate our listener today because you gave me such motivation and you inspired me to talk about my past and how I feel about me. And you actually made me think about how when someone says negative things about me, I have to learn to balance whether if it's true or is it my low self-esteem. And I appreciate you being honest and vulnerable with us. Um, Today I actually needed this today because I've been sick and today has been a very busy and hard day for me, very tiring, but this helps me sleep. This will help me get a nice, wonderful good night's sleep because it's a nice wind down and a beautiful reflection time for me to think about how I actually rose above my struggles this week. So it's okay to rise above your your challenges and think about how far you came and how much you accomplished because when you look back at that, you'll be even more motivated to rise in everything else that you do.
Our last question. Thank you for that. So powerful, Trish. And we hope that, Trish, you're on the mend. We know you've been sick for a while, and thank you so much for coming in to our show and hanging out with us. Appreciate you very much. So now, what will 2024 bring you from Vibe Talk? Oh, it's not over yet. There's still so much more to do. We're thanking all of you. If you'd love to tell your story, we'd love to hear your story. And every one of you have meant so much to us. We're so thankful for you. We're so thankful for you doing your own work. See, because I challenge you to challenge yourself. And why not? I had to be challenged. And the best way to be able to face your lions, which are challenged like problems, challenged like issues, when you do that, you will rise. Remember the acronym for RISE. Don't forget that. That's very important. Um, we've just been so thankful. 2024, you know the saying, I'll wait. That's what I think about. I'll wait. We'll wait. Because we know that every effort that we put forth is going to look very challenging. And once it's done, it's a beautiful story. And that's why we wanted to bring it to you tonight as a special edition. We have those every now and again. And we're just so grateful for all of you. And here's the next question for those that are listening to our entire podcast. What did you learn and discover about yourself this evening? What did you learn about yourself? First, let's start with you.
I have something that I learned this evening was I have the ability and resilience to rise above anything that I'm going through. And I think that's a superpower for me to have. And it helps me continue to grow and rise and build into the best version of myself. And my experience here today, well, tonight, this evening, my experience, I
It's
keep forgetting.
it's it's morning somewhere, believe me.
Oh, okay, but it's 9 o'clock over here. But my experience here this evening has been reflective, and it has also been a pleasure because I'm glad that we have a listener that we could talk to today. I mean, oh my goodness, we can talk to this evening and help and relate to them.
Yeah. And Robin, thank you from Virginia, all the way from Virginia. Thank you so much. We've come to our close, and before we close, I'd like to say I discovered that rising isn't so bad as long as you take the effort to do so. You know, it's more than just getting up, standing up. It's being resilient enough to get back up every time I fall. I'll always cherish that poem. And as I told you guys before, please look into Dr. Maya Angelou's story. Her story is so encouraging. Her story. Because there was a reason why she wrote that. And I don't know if you all know it, but it's a nice read. It's a nice read. So I felt that the picture is a beautiful picture. I've actually had this inspiration, but there was a right time to use it, and I felt that the close of 2023 would be here. I want everyone to know that we celebrate you every day. Every day we celebrate you. Please be patient with us. We know that people are celebrating the holidays. And if you are, please be safe. Be safe anyway and every day. And please remember that there are other people that are not so fortunate as you may be right now, that are still going through challenges, that don't know what you know right now. Tonight's show brought me empowerment, and I pass it on to you. Thank you for joining Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. Rise above it. That is what I challenge you to do each and every day. Have a good night, a safe weekend. Don't forget to join us Saturday night on our very own Facebook page for Vibe Talk After Dark on Instagram and Facebook. We'll be there. That podcast is a little different because you get to dedicate songs, you get to give a shout out. We made it exclusively for you. If you've got a dedication, we want you to play it or ask for requests. You can start with those requests. The number for that 661-503-8993. You may also ask for a dedication or say something online on our Facebook page. We will have that open for you. And Trish, we'd like to say have a safe weekend. We're going to see you guys back here soon enough. And catch our streaming because we have a lot of podcasts for you this whole year. Thanks to Trish for keeping up on that. Thank you, Trish. And get well soon. I challenge you to rise above. Good night.